This is our first disagreement of the season, and it's great to have disagreements because that's what this is all about.
I'm not sure he's special.
I think he's very good.
Hello and welcome back to the Let's Talk Racing YouTube channel in association with Racing TV. You are watching one of our 2023 to 2024 season previews. We're going to go through a few horses on this episode, and we're going to decide where they might go this season and if they might win some big races down the line. We did get this idea from the finishing line. Do go and subscribe to those. We did think that their series was very good, and we wanted to do our own version of it. But how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. It's been a good few weeks. Enjoying this lead up to the jump season. Dan Overall's put up his winless horses to follow on Racing TV's website. If people haven't seen that, I'd strongly recommend. And I think by the time this video is now up, you're going to be a star. And please remember me when you've reached the stardom, because you have presented your very own This Racing Life.
Got the call up. I got the call
Very
up.
good, mate. Well done.
Thank you very much.
You're
Cheers.
very good.
I'm presenting horse racing on TV.
Yeah, very good. And you're up in Cartmel as well.
Up in Cartmel with Jump Strack.
How have you spoofed that?
It couldn't be much better.
It's not even. We were barely even in September, and you've managed to get to a jump track.
I know. Was over the moon with it, and it's actually out on Racing TV at the moment. So if you want to go and watch it on their YouTube channel or on the channel itself, then please do go and do that. And any support in the comments of that video would be superb. Let me know what you think, and genuinely a big thank you, because I know these videos, we do them weekly. It's a bit of fun between me and you, but they do actually go a long way, and they do help us. But yeah, break down barriers. This is the wrong way. Open doors. It opens doors for us.
Yes.
So yeah, no, thank you very, very much. And if you do enjoy this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and do get your comments down below. We're going to do multiple episodes of this, so any horses you want to know about, down below. And also, in fact, before we start, a little bit of news for you. I caught up with my friends at Cheveley Park, and they were talking about Fernie Hollow.
Okay.
Had a setback at the start of summer.
Oh.
He's just unfortunately injury plagued, and the general feeling was that he will be back this season, but it's going to take all of Willie Mullins's power to get him back to competing at the top level.
Do you think we're going to see him again?
I wouldn't be certain.
That's such a shame.
I know.
It's a real shame. He's been a magic horse when they've got him right, but they can't do it, unfortunately. He's got the Duvan curse.
He does have the Duvan curse. Now, let's fire through these horses. We're going to do this quickly. We're not going to be going into too much detail unless we want to. Okay, that's our only stipulation. If we want to go into detail, we can. We're going to try and fire through as many as possible. And the first one we're going to talk about is Corach Rambler. Now, he's an interesting one. He's won the Grand National. He's won 2 Ultimas, and his handicap mark is finding him in a place where he needs to dip his toe into Gold Cup waters, Grade 1 3-mile chase waters, the likes of a Betfair Chase, the likes of a King George, and the likes of a Gold Cup in the spring. That would be more his target. I think if I owned him, I would go down that route anyway, or try earlier on in the season, and if it doesn't work out, then maybe go back to Aintree.
Yep.
One person who is going to know much more than us before we go into it is Cam Sword.
Hi lads, thanks for having me on. It's been an incredible 2 years with Corach. To say he's the first horse that I got involved with and he's gone and won the National makes me feel incredibly lucky and proud for both the opportunities and the journey he's taken us on. That being said, he will start his season at Kelso and in sort of a prep run / refresher run before most likely going to the Betfair Chase. He's 159 rated. He'll be weighted out the majority of these middle-sized handicaps, so he's going to have to take on Grade 1 company at some point. Taking on the likes of Brave Man's Game, Protectorate will most likely be aimed at the Betfair Chase, allows us to figure out where he stands and can he hold his own in Grade 1 company. If he can, you can campaign down that Grade 1 route, ending in the Cheltenham Gold Cup, and if he's not quite up to that level, it's early enough in the season where you can pivot and somewhat change his spring targets. Second of all, I just want to say a massive thank you to all the LTR viewers that got involved in King of Answers and Claymore Racing. There's over 500 members now involved, and that's growing every single day, so shares are selling out quick. If you do want to get involved, click the link down in the description where you'll be able to join the member group chat, join in on member Zoom calls, and we have a stable visit on the 24th of September where you'll be able to come along, meet King of Answers, Korak Rambler, and get a private yard tour by Lucinda and Skew.
He's not had a bad couple of years, has he?
Nah, not too bad. Just dipping your toe in, getting a share in a horse, thinking, look, it would be great to win a race or two here and there, maybe a Class 5, Class 4 race.
How's 2 Cheltenham Festival races and a Grand National?
You wouldn't kick it out of bed, would you? That's an unbelievable way to start off ownership, and I suppose it's given him the dream, and it's given plenty of people the dream.
It has given plenty of people the dream, and which is why I think it's exciting to be involved in Claymore Racing. Thank you so much to all the people that did get involved. I think there was hundreds and hundreds that got involved off the back of the last week's video. Really excited to do this as a collective, as a journey this season. Really looking forward to seeing King of Answers, and I think he's going to be running in a bumper at the end of the month, and you can go and meet him before if you sign up. So do that. First line of the description if you want to do that. Very excited, and he could be the king.
He could be, and I think we obviously need a new horse to bring us to that level. We had an unfortunate event last week of one of my stalwarts and a stalwart of the podcast in Gallant John Joe sadly leaving us. He was an absolute legend. He very rarely won, but he always ran his race, and I think we need a new horse to take us to those heights and to take us to the dizzy lands of Blair White Cliff horses. And I'm hoping King of Answers is much, much better than that, but he might be the next on the LTR top podium.
Yeah, it was gutting to see Gallant John Joe go like that, you were in a pretty
That's tough.
Poor mood for a few days, and then that's understandable.
Of course you are. These things happen. Be no different to what if it happened to Brave Man's Game to yourself.
Don't even say that. I couldn't imagine it. It'd be interesting. Korak Rambler, Gold Cup horse.
I think he's obviously going to have to go down that route. Do I think he's going to win a Gold Cup? No. He could run very well in a Gold Cup. I don't know. He's just the type of horse that it's very hard to know how he's going to run prior to Cheltenham, because in the previous couple of seasons, I think it's fair to say, I don't think he's maybe been made the most of in those runs prior to Cheltenham, because you're trying to get him to win a handicap at Cheltenham. You're not going to blow his mark. They're playing the system as everyone plays it. But this is going to be the first year. It reminds me a little bit of Sire de Burley, with the being in the Pertemps, and actually you're going to have to campaign him now as a Grade 1 horse, and I don't know where he'll go. I think where he'll be in that picture.
I struggle to think that he can win a Gold Cup. I think he could place in a Gold Cup. I think he could have possibly placed in this year's Gold Cup.
Gold Cup aside, do you think he can win a Grade 1?
I don't know what Grade 1 he's going to win. The easiest Grade 1 for him to win is going to be the Betfair Chase.
Yeah.
Or maybe Aintree.
Yeah, but is the bowl not going to be a Hoy Seigneur's baby?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky one, isn't
Hoy
it?
Seigneur's won twice at Aintree before. Arguably should have won the bowl this year. That could be his race.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult one. It's going to be very interesting to see how they're campaigning and how he's campaigned in comparison to Hoy Seigneur, because there are races. But if you think a Hoy Seigneur is going to end up over fences this year, which I think he might do, even if he takes in a hurdle run, you look at the two of them and go, with their Cheltenham records, both of them should run in a Cotswolds chase, but are they going to run against each other? I kind of doubt that.
No, because Derek Fox wants to keep them apart, won't he? Definitely. Moving on then to the current Gold Cup champion, Galopin de Chambre. Do you think he can do it again?
I think he can, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how he's campaigned this year. I think there might be a small change. Obviously, very interesting to note that the John Durkan is now before the Hatton's Grace meeting this season. It's the weekend before, as for it used to be the weekend after, which I think he will end up running in the John Durkan Christmas and then straight to Cheltenham. As for, of course, it was the John Durkan, which was rearranged last year. It was only a week before Christmas. Then he ran the Irish Gold Cup and then Cheltenham. I think they might give him that little bit more time between that second and third run. But it wouldn't surprise me if that's his goal. And then, if he ends up back at a Punchestown or something like that, that would obviously be ideal. I think he's the best horse in the market. I think he's the best horse in the race. And I think he's the best horse that suits 3 mile 2 furlongs range Cheltenham.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. It sounds silly to say that the Gold Cup winner is the standard bearer, but he is. He's done nothing wrong. Obviously, Punchestown was a bit of a blip, and the fall at Cheltenham was a bit of a blip the year before. But I think you can forgive Punchestown. He was slightly over the top, and I think if you ran fast or slow versus Galopin de Chambre in a Gold Cup, he'd have beaten him.
I think the fact that even though, like, well, we were at Punchestown that day, and I don't think you would have been pleased with him almost at any stage. I think the fact that he ended up being only beaten a half length or something was a remarkable run.
No, I agree. Constitution Hill. Hurdling, chasing.
Hurdling.
I agree. Will he just go fighting fifth, Christmas hurdle, champion hurdle, and then Aintree?
Yes.
Completely agree. Move on. Marine Nationale. This is going to be a big talking point. Marine Nationale. Will he be as good over a fence? Will he go chasing? Will he stick hurdling? I'd imagine the whereabouts of Constitution Hill will dictate that. But you got the impression that he just will go chasing?
I think so, because I've got that just in my head that Constitution Hill will stay hurdling. I don't know why I say that, but I just feel that's going to be the most likely option.
Oh, I'm going to include Facile Vega with this one. There's going to be a joint effort because
we had him.
They obviously had the close form last year, finishing 1-2 in the Supreme. This season, I know we've briefly touched on it in previous episodes, but Marine Nationale, which way do you see him going? Which way do you see Facile Vega going? If they're both to go the same way, who do you think would come out on top this year? Will fences bring more out of Facile Vega?
Theoretically, yes. I don't know whether it's enough to turn that form with Marine Nationale. I wouldn't say so, personally. I think Marine Nationale is just potentially the better horse. It's going to be interesting, though, because you have these horses that rock up in beginner's chase and you won't know how they'll jump. And even last year, like I remember El Fabiolo made his chase debut at Fairyhouse on a Mickey Mouse Wednesday card at 11:22 a.m. or something like that. And he jumped hopelessly. And yet he won the Arcolese against John Bond, who was one of the best jumpers in the game. Everyone was banging on all season about how John Bond's jumping was this, that and t'other. So you can read so much into all of this. I think Marine Nationale's fundamentally the better horse. I don't get with Facile Vega. The one thing I don't get, and I think it's potentially been a little bit misconstrued, that I don't like this horse, because I do. But I think he will win Grade 1s this season. I've no doubt about that. I just don't think he'll end up winning a novice chase at the Cheltenham Festival.
I heard the other day that, I think it was Andrew on the finishing line, said that if you ran these two horses over fences over 2.5 miles and Facile Vega would eat him alive, for me, that's a bit like saying that Erling Haaland got the better of Saliba in a 1v1, but if you put Erling Haaland playing centre half, Saliba's going to be much better. Like, Erling Haaland isn't a centre half, and Facile Vega, Marine Nationale isn't a 2.5 mile chaser.
No.
He's a 2 mile, probably a hurdler if they had their own way. I would imagine they maybe wouldn't go chasing.
Marine Nationale wouldn't be out of place in a mile 4, mile 6 flash race. I don't think, to be honest. Like, I know that's a terrible comparison to make, but like I think he's a 2 mile speed horse.
Oh, I think if you're actually dealing with what they've achieved, then Marine Nationale is unbeaten, and the one time he went up against Facile Vega, he beat him over 2 miles, and therefore, currently, as things stand, Marine Nationale
holds the ace.
It holds the ace, is a better 2 miler. Does that mean that Marine Nationale would beat him over 2 miles over fences? No. Does that mean that Facile Vega wouldn't beat Marine Nationale up in trip? No. I think that
there's a lot of imponderables here, because we don't necessarily know. I think it's just, I think it's very easy to assume one way or the other. I think people will assume with Marine Nationale, flatbred horse, that he maybe won't take to fences as well as Facile Vega, who's more your stereotypical national hunt-bred horse.
I prefer Marine Nationale to stay hurdling.
Yes, but he won't.
Yeah.
Would you tell me, an interesting thing that doesn't get talked about enough, would you back either of those two horses in a 2 mile hurdle race against Stateman? Because I wouldn't, and I love Marine Nationale more than anyone.
I think Marine Nationale would have a better chance than Facile Vega of beating Stateman. I don't know if I'd back him to do it.
No. But Stateman can't get near the other lads, so
I think Imperi Pass would have won the Supreme.
We'll get on to that.
It's all very interesting. Stay Away Faye won the Bartlett.
Yeah.
Do we think that was that a flash in the pan? Was it a poor Bartlett? Is he going to be the next Paul Nicholls 3 mile Grade 1 novice chaser? Where do you sit with him?
I really like him. actually. I do really like him. I thought he did it well in the Bartlett. I think there was excuses, as much as I don't want to make excuses for his 2 defeats to Maximilian, because Maximilian is king. But I think the Doncaster race that he got beaten by Maximilian, I think Maximilian just knew how to race more.
Right, yeah.
To be honest, Stay Away Faye looked so green, so gangly. I was so impressed by how much he'd manned up in the Bartlett, because he had every chance to shirk it, and he didn't. And then he's gone to Aintree. I think I think he's ran a pretty good race at Aintree, given he's had an incredibly tough race in the Bartlett, and then has ran a pretty decent race. I don't see any, actually. I struggle to see what English-trained 3-miler is going to beat him in a novice chase.
So the one race that I seem to love is the Quarto Star Novice Chase on Boxing Day. So it's a race I always try and work out earlier in the season. And
is that because of its then association with the King George the following year?
Yeah, I do. Okay. I think I like that. I like those winners, and then they go on to the King George. And I was trying to work out British trained horses that could go down that route, and I wrote down a list. We've got Stay Away Faye.
Yep.
For me, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I think that he is a different type of horse than a Kempton horse. I think that he could possibly be the best of this list, but Kempton isn't going to play to his strengths. Like Brave Man's Game's a nippier type. He's going to suit that.
Just a faster horse.
Stay Away Faye, to me, looks like a Newbury, a big galloping, just a big galloper. That if like a Ladbrokes Trophy in a year's time, if he was off 150, 155, it screams that for me. I think Hermes Allen out of the two is the more nippier type. I think he would suit Kempton more, but again, I don't know, there's a couple of question marks. I really like the horse, but I want to see him over 3 miles and put in a proper performance and hit the line strong. I'm not 100% sure he stays. Henry II, I think, is third in line with those two, going novice chasing. Yeah. I think he could improve for a fence, but he's going to have to really step up. And then we've got the Martin Pipe winner, Iroko. I think he could be really exciting.
Yeah.
He finished third at Aintree over 3 miles, obviously won the Martin Pipe. He could improve. I think it's still up in the air whether he goes chasing or he goes to the Stayers hurdle route. I wouldn't be 100% sure. Giovinco, I've just scarred with Lucinda Russell sending novice chasers to Kempton. He could have all the ability in the world, but that race might not suit him. Grey Dawning, not sure he's top class. I think he's a good horse. Making Your Mind Up wouldn't even come into the conversation. Then I was coming down on horses like Walking on Air, who's rated 138 and running in 3-mile handicap hurdles, and thinking, could he follow a Might Bite route because they were off a similar mark when they went novice chasing? It's a weak division. He was expensive. And then I was thinking, I'm probably just going mental here, but I do like Walking on Air. I think he'd be a better chaser. Actually, I'm going to say now, I think he'd be a 150, 155 chaser.
Did you not think when you're making your mind up and Walking on Air on that list, I actually should put down the beer when I'm doing the prep?
No, I agree. And then I was thinking, well, maybe could Willie send one of his novice chasers over because he's got so many? You think of Nick Rocket, Champ Kiley, the Nice Guy, Gaelic Warrior. Obviously, some of them could stay over hurdles, but maybe if Gaelic Warrior was to go chasing and they want to keep him right-handed, would they choose Kempton over Leopardstown? I think they probably would if they had the option.
But would you not, though? Like if Gaelic Warrior was going chasing, which we don't know whether he is or not, would he not just hoover up the Grade 1 at Limerick?
No, exactly. He could 100% go down that route. I'm just thinking, if Willie was to send one over, which one?
It's just been a while since Willie sent a kind of a catalogue of horses over on Stephen's Day. It would be great if he did.
Yeah.
But I'd be a little bit on the fence whether he would or not. And I'm not sure those horses, you're looking at them going... But Gaelic Warrior aside, those other 3 horses wouldn't suit Kempton in a fat.
Exactly. So looking at those British trained novices, if Tamura suddenly stays 3 miles, but this is how
you're losing it.
No.
You're losing.
No, this is how I'm not pussing up Tamura's, but this is how weak this division is, and it's hard to work out who is going to be the best 3-mile novice chaser. And I'm kind of thinking, well, is it going to be Stay Away Faye? But then he's not going to be my Quarto Star Novice chase horse. I don't know. It's a really, really strange one. I don't know how good Stay Away Faye is. I don't think he's a special Paul Nicholls novice chaser, I'll be completely honest. I think Hermes Allen would suit Kempton more. I don't know. I really don't. I think he'll start over 3 miles.
Yeah, I think it comes down on the fact that honestly, if we're talking candidly, it probably wasn't the greatest Albert Bartlett in the world. It wasn't the greatest Sefton. Like Apple away. Is she going to go chasing? Does she have a chat? Like I know she's a few guys have commented in a few of the previous videos, especially the horses to follow videos about Apple away. Obviously, she's gone and won a Grade 1. You know, she's done the exact same as what Ahoy Senior did. And he obviously turned into a Grade 1 horse over fences as well. Are we forgetting her? Maybe. But I wouldn't even have a clue how she's going to be campaigned.
I think she'd stick to mares races as well, possibly. Stay away.
But if it was an absolute tin pot 3 mile Grade 1 novice chase and she's getting £7, a little bit like what they did in the Sefton, you might as well take advantage. Yeah. This is our first disagreement of the season, and it's great to have disagreements because that's what this is all about. But
I'm not sure he's special.
I think he's very good.
We'll see.
I think he's by far the best 3 mile novice chaser this season in England.
I disagree. Jerry Galopin, Betfair Trace penciled in. Do you like that?
I think it's a good option.
I do. I like it.
I think it's a good option.
You know the ground's going to be soft.
Yeah, 3 miles, fair jumping test. I think Jerry Galopin's going to have a decent enough season. It wouldn't surprise me if he picks up a Grade 1 along the way. How he's going to be campaigned. Is he going to go Irish Gold Cup after that?
If what you said about Galopin Deschamps is true and he doesn't go to the Irish Gold Cup, I think this lad will win that.
Yes. Oh, do I? I have a doubt. On 3 miles on decent ground in February at Leopardstown, I genuinely would back Conflated to beat him. I stand with Jerry where you stand with Stay Away Faye. I think he's a very good horse. Wouldn't surprise me if he won a properly decent race this year. I just can't see him really landing a blow in a Gold Cup, personally.
I think he's the second best Irish horse that's going to run the race, if he does. I think Galopin Deschamps is clear.
Yeah.
I think Jerry is going to be... I think he reminds me very much of Don Poli. Slow beast, but will be staying on for third in a Gold Cup. And will get done by a quicker, nippier type who probably jumps better.
There's worse horses in the last 10 years that have finished in the frame of a Gold Cup than this guy. I completely understand that.
Don't get me wrong, I think he can win it. I do think he can win a Gold Cup if...
You do?
I think he can win a Gold Cup, yeah.
Oh, dearie me,
I think he's got to improve. I think he was very, very good at Aintree, and I don't think he put his best foot forward at Cheltenham.
Do you think he could beat Braveman's game?
At Cheltenham, I think he could, yeah.
Oh.
Extra 2 furlongs. You've got to remember, he didn't get that at Cheltenham this year.
I understand
run that race again with an extra 2 furlongs. I think he wins it 50
I'm not saying that, but I defended it all of last year. I'm not suggesting this horse is like him.
I think
everyone told me, you included, Statler's going to be running on at the end of the Gold Cup because he was a stare. He's taken off his feet in the first mile.
He's not Statler.
No, I know he's not Statler, but he is a slow enough horse. You just compared him to Don Polly. Don Polly's Gold Cup when he finished third. He was run off his feet. You have to have a bit of tactical speed, and I'm not sure
He's won a Grade 1 2 mile 3 furlong of his chase.
At Limerick?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the ground at Limerick at Christmas time?
So easy.
Have you ever seen it? Like, you would go out to a mud patch and it would be nicer ground than what they have to run. Those poor horses have to run on at Limerick.
I think he could beat Braveman's game at Cheltenham. I think he could.
I think just Braveman's game is just a fundamentally better horse.
Maybe Jerry can't win a Gold Cup. I don't think he can finish out of 3. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. I could see him finishing third, maybe.
Imperi Pass. Champion hurdle, chasing. 2.5 miles, 2 miles?
Chasing.
2.5 or 2?
2.5.
Interesting.
Don't complicate the uncomplicated.
Does that mean Facile Vega's an Arkle horse?
I think he'll run in the Arkle, yeah.
Okay. Imperi Pass, where does he start?
I think he could start. Well, he'll start either in a. He could start in a 2 mile beginner's chase. It wouldn't really matter, to be honest. Where he goes after that.
If you were to think of a race before Cheltenham, he could run in.
Well, I suppose he could run in the 2.5 Grade 1 novice chase at the DRF.
Would he possibly take in given his ownership? Could he take in those 2 mile Grade 1s at Leopardstown against Facile Vega?
No, I don't think they'll run each other against each other, to be honest. I just think Willie sort of seems, which is interesting with Facile Vega, but he does hold Facile Vega in a regard that he really doesn't want to run horses against him. The only thing I'd say about Impere Pass, I think he was Willie's best novice hurdler last year.
I agree.
I thought he. I think that Ballymore is. I think the Ballymore was the best of the 3 novice hurdles. Actually, I think the second, like Gaelic Warrior, obviously a very, very good horse. Champ Kiley, a very good horse. Good Land, very good horse. Hermes Allen still running. I think it was just a very good race, and he absolutely devoured them. The only thing I will say about Impere Pass, my only bit of snippiness, is I cannot see the talk about the champion hurdle in the slightest.
Okay.
I think he'd be run over in the champion hurdle.
Factophile. Is he the horse to take out the champion bumper?
I thought so.
What did you think of the winner?
I think the winner's good.
Is he going to win the Supreme?
No.
Is he going to win a Ballymore?
No.
Why not?
Well, I think he's a little bit like Marine Nationale. I don't think he wants to go up in trip. I think he's a 2 mile.
Yeah.
Or again, he's a flatbred horse, but he's a speed horse.
Okay.
I think, I don't know. John Kiley's a very, very good trainer. There's no getting away from that. But
I suppose
at the same time,
say, if you fancy, say, Ballyburn for a Supreme.
I think, though, I don't mean this in any disrespect, because I understand more than anyone John Kiley's an excellent trainer, and I'm sure 99% of the people watching this video know that for a fact. But you can't tell me that 99% of us are also thinking, would we prefer to be backing a John Kiley trained favourite of the Supreme or a Willie Mullins trained favourite of the Supreme? Because you just know that's a winning formula. And therefore, do I believe that Willie Mullins will have something, whether we've either seen it before or whether we haven't seen it, and it could be one of these 102 French recruits he's gotten in, that could be better than a Dream to Share, who's probably a relatively prohibitive price for the Supreme.
Let's go back to Factophile.
Good horse. Really like him.
Ballymore?
Yeah.
Bartlett?
I would suggest Ballymore for now, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was he's a 3 mile chaser down the line, so, he could run in a Bartlett. I wouldn't rule it out.
By the way, I'm doubling down that Ballyburn runs in the Ballymore.
Okay, mate.
Completely doubling down.
Okay. I like that.
I don't think he'll run in it. I think he'll go to the Bartlett.
Factophile.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't say that he wouldn't.
I think he might run against Ballyburn in a Ballymore, but Willie doesn't do that often.
Not when he thinks he's got 2 horses that could easily win 2 separate races. He's not going to run the 2 of them and come 1-2 when he could have won the Bartlett.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
I just like the way he did it throughout the season. I was actually impressed how he won at Christmas time against Irish Panther. And then he just seemed to be done for a little bit of speed in both Leopardstown and Cheltenham.
Is he good enough at Grade 1 level?
He's a Grade 1 horse, definitely, yeah. And sorry, before people misconstrue, I think a Dream to Share will be a Grade 1 horse this year. It wouldn't surprise me if he wins a Grade 1. I would be keen at this stage to take him on for a Supreme Novices.
Sandor Clegane, final horse.
Well, I had to get him in, didn't I?
Yeah, where's he going to go? What's he going to do?
I think it'd be campaigned to be a Brown Advisory horse. One thing that I mentioned, and I mentioned it a couple of years ago with Latest Exhibition, because I just know I've had a few guys that have, messaged me and stuff like that. Now, I don't know for a full 100% fact where he's going to end up, but I would be incredibly doubtful that he'll end up in a national hunt chase. And I know a lot of people think that he could go down that route, and I would be really, really against backing him for that race.
He's definitely more of a Latest Exhibition than Discorama.
Well, yes, but also they won't. That national hunt chase, Discorama ran tremendously in, but it did break him, and he was able to run well a couple of times after that, but it was a heartbreaking race, and I think that is in their mind, and with Latest Exhibition, I think if they're in a situation where they don't believe they can win a Brown Advisory novice chase, it wouldn't surprise me if they did the exact same with Xander as they did with Latest Exhibition, and they just run him in an Irish National. It's 4 times as much prize money, and you'd have a novice off maybe a decent mark. But I think it'll be campaigned as a Grade 1 3 mile chaser. He'll maybe even take in the 2-5 at the DRF.
I think he's more of a 3 mile and less horse than a 3 mile and more. What do you think about that?
I think
he's got more chance of winning a Limerick race at Christmas, like a 2.5 mile grade one, than a 3.
And he wants dig in the ground, so I couldn't put you off that. I just think people look at his Bartlett run
and he's just staying on.
And think he's just staying on. But the only reason he was in that position was he got into skirmishing with your horse, Seabank Bistro, who absolutely turfed him at the top of the hill. And he actually used up, I believe, quite a lot of tactical speed to get back into the race. And then, he's gone out and made all in a 2.5 mile, pretty competitive auction hurdle at Punchestown, worth 80 grand to the winner. And he's made all and quickened up like a good horse turning.
Didn't strike to me as a 4 miler there. No way.
No. So the only thing I would say,
he's not a national horse down the line.
No.
He's a
potentially even a Ryanair horse. I'm not saying he's maybe even that good, but he'll be campaigned as a Grade 1 horse this year. The only thing I would suggest to people, if you are thinking about it, is I wouldn't back him for a national hunt chase with stolen money.
And you are his biggest fan, so that means an awful lot. We do hope you've enjoyed this video. Do click the first line in the description if you want to get involved in Claymore, and do get your comments for next week's video. Send in the horses, we'll pick them out, and we look forward to having a good old natter about them. If you did enjoy this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you soon.